day.
Anybody Friday?
No more day to day.
Aren't we all day to day, actually?
100%. That's exactly right.
We've gotten a chance to talk to all the new guys. Just from
Yep.
your perspective, what is the process like of trying to integrate them all as quickly and easily as possible?
Yeah, so we started in a little bit today. We obviously couldn't quite get them on the court yet, but we did prep some film, just kind of both sides of the ball, just to get them kind of going. They observed practice as well. So we'll start tomorrow at shoot around, probably prior to that, just getting them into some sets and things, some basic stuff, and then we just gotta see where we're at from there. I think that the next real chance would be Friday to, at a practice to get them playing and get a look at them and see where we're going from there.
So you think it could be a chance that they could play on Saturday?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I just got out of practice, so I'm not sure where we are timeline wise on everything with tomorrow night. So, but I never know if they're available. Obviously, we'll dress them and see what's going on. But I would imagine we're going with the guys that are currently locked in right now. Just probably a little too soon tomorrow to get them integrated, but you never know.
When you look at the group as a whole, I guess what you like
Yep.
what they bring to the table for you.
Well, the group as a whole, I think they've all, three of the four anyway have played considerable minutes in the NBA. That's a good start, and three of the four also have a shooting component to their game, which I think it's always, I say that a lot. It's always important when you got somebody like Joel that you got guys that can space and the guys that have had taken shots in the bright lights and made them. That's important. And I do like AJ too. Like, he's a young, explosive athlete, pretty good player, who's kind of on the rise pretty quickly. I think he's just kind of starting to figure out his what he can do in games and all that stuff. But the other three played against him, coached against him. Coached one of them, Coach Marcus Morris in Rio Grande, so I know him a little bit better than the other two. But there's certainly some versatility there. They're all kind of the same position, which is kind of multiple wing, 2, 3, 4 type guys. So we'll got some flexibility there and some depth. I think added some depth.
Is this another scenario where your G League background is helpful? You talked a lot about guys
Yeah.
leaving, but then sometimes
Yeah.
I'm sure you would randomly get people that you would have to catch up on the fly really quickly.
Yeah, if this was the G League, they'd be playing tomorrow night.
I'm
Probably
sure.
three of them be starting.
Figure
But
it
yeah,
out.
yeah. So it should. I mean, again, we a lot of times when you're in the G League, you got a really small package of things you'll try to get them to the next game with and things like that, and you just got to be cognizant of just certain things. What are they doing half court? What are we doing when the ball goes out of bounds? You try to figure out some shortcuts there. Some of the things we used to like. If we got a new guy, he'd take it out. Yeah, the other four guys would know where to go, and hopefully he would pass it to the open man or something like that. Just little things like that, and I think that's a pretty experienced group. It shouldn't be, they're gonna have to learn some of the stuff defensively, schemes, but I'm sure they've seen most of it. So when we're telling them, hey, we're gonna trap something this is how we rotate. I'm sure they've seen some of that, or we're switching stuff, or whatever. So. And then the other part always is you just got to check health and conditioning. But I think for the most part, 3 of the 4 have been playing, just recently, some decent minutes, 17, 20, 27, whatever it is. So they should be pretty good there, but always got to check that out too.
Nick, is there a sense of stability now, relief, focus that maybe wasn't here a couple of days ago, just because you know kind of what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that, again, I didn't try to ever treat it as some big burden we were carrying around or something that was going to cause us to lose focus or anything like that. But obviously, you know, you got a little bit clearer picture of what's going on. I think you always have to kind of have your antennas up for things changing just because of schedule, injury, whatever, anyway. So you kind of got that. It's kind of a built-in mode that you always got to keep anyway. But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's certainly interesting to see what we do now and how it looks and what these guys can do for us. That's for sure.
And how do you think it will affect, in particular, Tyrese? He seems to be the guy that everybody's sort of focusing on. You know, if James is here, he's one player. If James is not here, he's another player. How do you think it will affect him over the next few months?
Shouldn't affect him too much. I don't think any of those guys play his position at all.
I mean, just the absence of James, him knowing he's going to be where he's going to be.
I mean, I think that again, it's a little bit like all of us. We knew James, you know, was a free agent. We didn't know if he was coming back. You know, there's been some months here to kind of get around, you know, get his head around all that. I think he'll handle it just fine. I think it's an incredible opportunity and a much needed opportunity for him.
In the super short term, just
Yep.
because you also did remove another starter with PJ, do you know who you're looking at to maybe start at that spot or give more minutes there, just how you sort of
Yeah. I mean,
patch that?
we'll bump Kelly into there. I think for short term. I think that I certainly love what he brings off the bench as an explosive scorer. So I don't know how that'll end up in the long term or the midterm, but the short term it'll be him tomorrow night.
Nick, you've been a part of some like in-season trades, but do you
Yep.
feel like it's maybe easier now that you're so early in the season that you got all this time to make sure everything's all set to go for the long term?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that I don't know if I've ever had. Well, yeah, maybe not quite this early. This is super early, but my first year at Toronto, we had a big trade. Feels like it was 10 or 12 games in or 13 games. Can't remember. You guys can fact check me on that. But we had a big trade there and kind of similar, kind of one kind of, you know, kind of focal point of the offense guy went out and we got like 5 guys back and that ended up being pretty good for us. We ended up getting you know, kind of an immediate veteran bench and, you know, found some chemistry with that group and it's pretty good. You know, most of the other ones, the other major one was probably Gasol, but that was a February one, and it isn't, you know, so it isn't. There's always some things to think about, you know, with what you're doing, guys coming in, and when you're going to finally make some kind of decisions of what the rotation looks like. It usually takes a little bit of time.
Nick, you have a couple of guys now that mostly in playoff settings, but in Batum and Covington, but at other stops have played some small ball five. I guess. Do you think you're going to experiment at all with lineups like that with those guys throughout this season?
Yeah, yes, I would say we'll experiment with about everything, you know, just in general. I would say my staff keeps telling me a lot about Batum at the 5, so I guess I probably need to look at that a little bit more and get more and then see what it looks like with us. But I think it's great. I think, again, I love just versatility in general and being able to, you know, plug guys in there. And, you know, I mean, guys are getting to know me. Like, I like to play my best players and figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, so if there's a guy that's our best player, man, we got to figure it out positionally sometimes. So, yep.
You mentioned that experience coaching Marcus a little while ago.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that, and what are you expecting from him here?
It was a really good experience. He was young. I was younger. I think it was 10 years ago, almost exactly. So, you know, he's got talent. He's got size. He can put the ball in the basket. Love his toughness. Think he's a competitor. Always have stayed in like really good touch with him ever since then. So I'm excited to see him here, and I think positionally too that he's you know he can guard like up too just because of his kind of strength and size as well. So just got to see, but I like him as a player and as a competitor for sure. Okay, everybody, thank you.